I learned early that some truths hide better in silence. That night, my aunt's living room was packed with a parade of familiar faces, faces I saw once a year, always performing the same small roles. I hovered near the bookshelf, gripping a glass of water like it might anchor me to the room. Across the room, my sister, Vivian, was in her element, gliding from group to group, laughing at jokes I couldn't hear, her charisma a spotlight that seemed to drain the air from everyone else. That I'd been there 40 minutes and spoken to 3 people, barely 3, before they were pulled away by someone more interesting. "There's Naomi," I overheard my uncle mutter, not quite under his breath. "Still hiding in the corner, always has been, brilliant, but awkward with people. Such a shame." My chest tightened. Vivian laughed, perfectly timed and melodic. At 34, 2 years older than me, she had mastered the social stage. And I had mastered nothing. 5 minutes later, Mom called, "Everyone, gather around. Vivian's segment is about to air." I stayed planted near my sanctuary of books while the room migrated toward the TV. Vivian had been interviewed by the local news about her booming interior design business, now expanding into commercial spaces. On screen, she was polished, confident, articulate, a model of success that everyone in that room recognized instantly. "That's my daughter," Mom announced, pride bursting from her voice. Applause erupted. People complimented Vivian, "So natural on camera, she's so well-spoken." I glanced at my phone. 2:47 p.m. In 13 minutes, my address to the United Nations General Assembly would go live. Years of research, travel, and sleepless nights distilled into a speech about climate adaptation. But telling my family? Futile. They had never understood the work that didn't fit their definition of achievement. "Naomi, did you see your sister?" Mom asked, finally noticing me. "Yes," I said, flatly. "She did well." Her tone lingered with the invisible comparison I knew too well. Vivian had the charm, the ease, the social grace. And I had dedication and quiet. My phone buzzed, a text from Dr. Layla Chen, my colleague. "We're watching the stream here. You're going to be brilliant. The Secretary General is looking forward to your recommendations." I swallowed. Here, I was the awkward daughter. There, I was the scientist the world was watching. Cake was served, laughter resumed. I hovered near the bookshelf again, invisible, a spectator in my own family gathering. Vivian whispered to her husband, "She tries, but social situations aren't her thing. Maybe she should see someone." I wasn't socially anxious. I was socially selective. But explaining that would only confirm their misjudgment. 3 p.m. somewhere in New York, the UN Assembly Hall went quiet. I stepped to the podium, and the live stream reached homes across the globe. Charts, data, years of work distilled into a voice that had been waiting for this stage. "Communities most vulnerable to climate change often bear the heaviest burdens," I said. "The Marshall Islands face existential threats. Bangladesh endures devastating floods. Mozambique battles increasingly violent cyclones." Back in my aunt's living room, a younger cousin had grabbed the remote. Suddenly, the screen switched. The UN logo filled the frame. "Oh my God, that's Naomi," someone whispered. "At the UN?" Another voice echoed disbelief. My cousin turned up the volume. Every eye was fixed. "I'm presenting our research consortium's 5-year study on community-led climate adaptation," I said. "Data from 47 countries. Collaborations with over 200 local organizations. Solutions exist. Knowledge exists. Now we need political will, humility, and courage. These communities aren't asking for charity, they demand justice." The room fell silent. Even my family couldn't look away. Twitter notifications, Wikipedia entries, news alerts, they all came alive. My cousin read aloud, stunned. She testified before Congress. Won the Goldman Environmental Prize. Published in Nature, Science, The Lancet. Mom's face went pale. Vivian's voice faltered, "You, let us think it was just a hobby." "I am doing research. It's my career," I said quietly, letting each word land. I've spoken at the European Parliament, advised the African Union, consulted with ASEAN. And for years, you dismissed it as important work, code for you didn't understand it. My mother's eyes filled. We just didn't see it, she whispered. Dad nodded, voice heavy with regret. You could have shown us. We just weren't paying attention. I held my ground. You called me socially awkward 30 minutes ago. But I've given keynotes to thousands. Negotiated with ministers. Done interviews in 4 languages. I'm not socially awkward. I'm focused. Vivian's defenses cracked. I didn't mean it that way, she murmured. But I shook my head. You did. You've always meant it. I was the quiet one, the awkward one. You used that narrative to dismiss every accomplishment I ever earned. And then, the shift. For the first time, my family truly listened. Questions came, real ones, about my work, the people I worked with, the scope of the problems I tried to solve. I told them about community-led programs, international partnerships, policies that could save lives. They asked. They absorbed. They cared. By the end of the evening, apologies were exchanged. Hugs were given. My cousin laughed, I've been fangirling over you for years, and I didn't even know you were the same Naomi from our family. I smiled, quietly victorious. Driving home later, my phone buzzed relentlessly with global reactions to the UN address. Messages, interviews, engagement from around the world, but the ones that mattered most were from my family. Mom, Dad, Vivian, they were finally seeing me. Not the awkward daughter, not the quiet one, but the scientist whose work changed lives, and maybe, finally, they understood.